Welcome to WOPTalk.tv, and we're broadcasting from Milano Cafe tonight. This is going to be our first editorial. My name is Diego, and I hope you enjoy the show. Unfortunately, Joey, Robert, not going to be with us tonight, but actually Robert's behind the camera filming all of this. So the editorial is basically just trying to put a perspective on things, a personal one, I suppose. It doesn't necessarily reflect the views of WOP Talk and its staff, but one that I think is becoming somewhat of a great concern to everyone around these days living in the province of Quebec. I'm speaking, of course, of the language issue and the French issue in particular. Incidentally, today a report came out suggesting that all companies, small business companies between 25 and 40 employees, be forced to speak French and French only in their offices. I think this is redundant. I think it's stupid. If you're going to do business, you got to do business in no matter what language it is. We agree that perhaps the French language should be respected simply because it's dominated in this province, the original language being French. But at the same time, I think that you have to understand that not everybody, best man or best woman for the job, does speak English or only French. So I think you're taking away. So what are companies going to do now? If you're forced to speak only in English, what do we do? I'll tell you what I think we do. If you're forced only to speak French or forced only to speak English, the answer is you do neither. You do what is right for your company. You do it to the best of your abilities, as it is your right to do so. There's a point that needs to be understood in all of this. The Constitution of this country needs to be respected, and I think at this point in time it's not being respected. The Constitution provides for two official languages, French and English, and coming along and saying no to one or the other is just wrong. And if you go to Ontario and you say, I don't want to speak English, I speak only French, that is wrong. Vice versa, if Ontario tells you, you can't speak French, you can only speak English, that's wrong. In recent weeks, we've had what is called Pastagate. And Pastagate basically boiled down to one of the employees of the OLF. For those who don't know what OLF is, it's l'Office de la Langue Française. And essentially made a big deal about the word pasta being on the menu in one of the more iconic restaurants here in Montreal, or you might say trendy restaurant. I found that ridiculous, as most Italian originals found it ridiculous. I think that needs to be understood that the priorities of this government and president in Quebec is completely misguided and misdirected. I don't think that Pauline Marois has understood what her mandate is all about. She has to understand that the mandate for her election in a minority capacity was to essentially try to get this province back on track. The vote that she received on September 4th, 2012 does not reflect the mandate of sovereign Quebec or to go out and attack all allophones or non-speaking French people in this province. Point out that Pauline Marois took it upon herself to go to a summit in Scotland in regards to separate countries that want to separate from countries that they feel they're under. Scotland being one, not being happy with Great Britain. The question I have for you to all ask is this. Her mandate was not about going to Scotland. Why didn't she advise anyone that her mandate was to go to Scotland and to fight for separatists amongst other countries that want to separate? And there's no answer to that. So basically she takes money that really was not hers to take for a quest that clearly was not indicated through the mandate of an election. Although her platform from a PQ standpoint is about sovereign Quebec and French. If I look at this back and I say the OLF, the Office de la Langue Française, the president is spending approximately $150 million a year in enforcing the French language. Meanwhile, you come along and you cut $9 billion from your budget for infrastructure repairs in this province. I would think that now we have a bigger issue at hand. And the issue is no longer whether we're speaking English or French. The issue now is, do we have anyone competent in this province to understand what the true needs are? And when does it stop? When does the senior citizen who has worked the past 40, 50 years of their lives, who are now in the horizon of their lives, who are now at a stage where they should be retired in peace, are not able to get the proper treatment that is necessary for proper health care, proper lodging, to ensure that they're able to eat, that they're able to feed? How does this work out? How do we protect them? You come along and you make promises to the students of no hikes, and now the students are demanding that they get free education. How do you solve that issue? And already we have begun to see the demonstrations in the streets. It is early March and they've begun. And last night, example, being the 5th of March, 2015, 10 students from the manifestation of the carry were picked up, arrested, damaging buildings downtown, and so forth. When does this stop? I think we have a problem. I think that the problem is that it's high time that this province gets together and understands that the needs of this province have nothing to do with speaking French. The needs of this province have nothing to do with being sovereign. I think that it is time that somebody makes everybody understand, specifically Madame Pauline Marois, that her mandate is to protect this province. It is not to alienate, to completely disregard any potential investors from wanting India based on language and language alone. If I look at everything down the line over the past 35 years, all the PQ has done is alienate what potentially was ours. Congratulations, Toronto, for who you are today, but please say thank you for who you are today. If it weren't for Pauline Marois, René Lévesque, Bernard Landry, you wouldn't be who you are today. But this is not about Toronto, it's about Montreal. Now when I look at things, a failing education system, a failing healthcare system, a failing social system, and now, worse on top of everything else, a failing infrastructure system that does not comply any longer to the 21st century. If we look at the enquête chambre, all I find in that is a genocide, an economic genocide, to eliminate anybody other than the French people from the construction scene. Pinpointing. If we look back at this whole pasta game, when one of the ministers, one of the M&As, was asked how they felt about this whole wording, pasta being on the menu, and the big issue that was being taken place, he replied in comparison to, similarly like Mr. Miliotto does not know anything about the mafia, I know nothing about the pasta. A cultural trademark like pasta has nothing to do with the mafia, has nothing to do with the underground, has nothing to do with anything that's crooked. It is a cultural trademark that belongs to a culture, the Italian culture, world-renowned, world-respected. So I thank you, Madame Marois. I thank you for not telling my children they have no business living in Quebec. I thank you for telling my children that they should go elsewhere and become big elsewhere. But remember this, in 25 years, the immigrant will be the supervisor, will be the executive, will be the owner of most of the companies that your children, the French, are going to be working under. Hey, I got no problem with that, because I know I hire and I fire at will when it comes to French and English and anybody else. Congratulations, all the best to you. This has been a podcast editorial for WOPTalk TV. Thank you and good night.